I have a lot of books. Let's just say my to-be-read list is getting a little bit out of hand. I have quite a few books that I have been wanting to read, so I thought that today I would do a little to-be-read list for walk you guys through some things that I'm excited to read, some of the things that have maybe been on the back burner for even a couple years. Yeah, this stack did not grow overnight. It has been building definitely for a few years at this point. I have been reading some. I don't think I read as fast as I gain the books, that's the truth. I love shopping secondhand, so I pick up a lot of things as I go. And I don't always get around to reading them right away. But I thought this would be a really fun way to kind of showcase what I'm interested in, and some of the background behind like why I picked out certain books. And hopefully, if I chat about them a little more, remember why I was so inspired to pick them up in the first place, maybe I will be a bit more inspired to start reading a little bit more, or know which books I want to read next as I continue reading. So I am going to set these on the ground because they're a little precarious. But yeah, so what I'm thinking is I'm probably going to start with my fiction stack. It's sitting on this side. And I think let's just dive right in. So first up, we have Carrie by Stephen King. This book is my current read. You can see I'm like maybe halfway through. It is really good so far. I like it a lot. I do think, well, I haven't seen the ending. I can't quite compare it to the movie yet, but I am a fan so far. I feel like I could explain all of the books, but at the same time, I feel like most people know the story of Carrie. It's been a really interesting read so far. I've really found interesting the kind of like touch on religion and how that impacts Carrie as a young woman, and kind of how she overcomes the expectations her mother has for her has also been a really interesting part of this book. Now for all of the ones that I don't know so well. I'm going to start out with this stack here. These three are ones that I bought for classes. There were a couple that I bought for the wrong class and a couple that we just didn't get to in the class that I took. So these are all Gothic literature or stem from Gothic literature from what I've heard, because I haven't read them yet, unfortunately, but I hope to get to them really soon. But yeah, so these were all for classes that were either about Gothic literature or inspired by Gothic literature. So to start out, we have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. Here's the cover. Yeah, so this book, the reason I held on to it was I've already read Shirley Jackson's The Haunting of Hill House for another course, and I really loved that book, and I thought like the way the course was taught was really interesting, and I learned a lot from it, and from Shirley Jackson's writing specifically. So I held on to this one because I like The Haunting of Hill House so much. So I really want to revisit Shirley Jackson as an author through this book as well. Next we have When We Were Orphans by Kazuo Ishiguro, and here's the cover. This book was bought for a course called The Urban Gothic. From the back, it sounds like it's set between London and Shanghai, so definitely pertains to the urban experience. And I will be excited to see how this fits in with the rest of the books that we read in the course. We also read things like Passing by Nella Larson, set in New York. We also read Dracula, which moves about cities somewhat, but I believe part of it is set in London. Yeah, so it'll be really cool to see how this fits in with the rest of the books we read in that course. Finally, for Gothic literature, we have The Castle of Otranto by Horace Walpole. And this novel is regarded to be like one of the earliest Gothic novels, so really sets the scene for what came after in terms of Gothic literature. So this is a really cool piece of history to be able to have and hopefully read soon. And then it'll be really interesting to see how it connects with, like I said, with the other Gothic novels, how it connects to like the greater scheme of everything in the Gothic literature world. Now we just have some of my personal picks. So to start off, we have a Western. This one is called Soldier Blue. The original title was Arrow in the Sun by Theodore V. Olson. And this one's pretty cool. I picked it up, it was like a $1 Western, and there were 2 copies there, each for $1. So I picked one up for me and one up for my friend who also likes Westerns. And we were going to do a little book club, but haven't gotten around to it yet. So I can't really say if this book is going to be good or not, because it was like $1, but price doesn't always equal the quality of the book. So we'll see, but just a cool little find, and hopefully it will kind of further my understanding of the Western genre as I've seen through other books I've read. I really liked No Country for Old Men, and I really liked Annie Proulx's short story collections with Brokeback Mountain specifically. Those both veer a bit more modern in their takes on the Western genre, so here is an example of just a very classic Western, like base level Western. Let's see what year it's from. This is from 1969. So, well, maybe it's coming a little after like the initial heyday of Westerns, but it'll be interesting to read this and then perhaps compare it to the movie, because that is what I have done with the other 2 Westerns that I really enjoyed. So it'll be cool to kind of repeat that pattern and see how it compares. Next, we have another secondhand find. I have Don Quixote by Cervantes, and this one, she's quite thick. There's a lot to read here, but I picked this up because it's a Spanish author. It's also a classic. I think it would be really interesting to read in the original Spanish, but I don't know that my language abilities are quite there yet for a novel this big and this old. So I have the English version that I picked up a couple years ago. Have not gotten to yet because it is so immensely thick, and part of me is like, if I can get my Spanish abilities to the point where I can just read this once in Spanish, that would be perhaps easier or like more streamlined to my goal of like reading it in Spanish. But I do think that having the English copy is also really beneficial if I ever were to do that, so then I can cross-reference, make sure I'm understanding everything. Speaking of those other Westerns, I also have this one, The Trigger Master by J.T. Etzen, and this was another one of those $1 Westerns. The text is quite small, but it's not extremely long, so I think that it won't be an extremely difficult read. It's from 1981, so yeah, definitely coming a bit after like the Western heyday, so we'll see how this one holds up. Maybe doesn't quite seem to be like a classic of the Western genre, but hopefully it'll be an interesting read nonetheless. Next up, we have Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice. I picked this one up actually from a free bin at my school, which was kind of a fun find. I think I had heard of this book, but didn't really know anything about the plot or anything about it yet. And there's also like a little note in the front, which is like so cool to see. I love finding little like tidbits of things from previous owners in used books. I think it's really interesting. So like this one, it looks like it was from a student to their professor. But I do love a good like horror. I love a good vampire. I love a good like gothic energy in a book, so we will see how this all fits together. Kind of what I'm expecting based on the name, or if it veers in a completely different direction, but either way, sounds really interesting. Next up, we have Secret History. I bought this one at a small bookstore when I visited Florida. I am so excited to read this. I go to a liberal arts school, so the like dark academia vibe that I've heard The Secret History has, and the emphasis on like the academic and also like kind of what goes on underneath that like facade of the academic world really intrigues me, because I've kind of been in a way living like within that sphere. I'll be really interested to see how this take on higher education compares to my experience with it, and the ways in which the facade of academia isn't always necessarily what it seems. Feels very fitting though for the school that I attend. And then we have Radcliffe Hall, The Well of Loneliness. This one I picked up in Paris at Shakespeare and Company. I picked this up there because I read a like biography collection. It was called No Modernism Without Lesbians. I can like put it up here hopefully so that you can see the cover, because it was a really good book. But that book kind of talked about Paris and the modernist movement through the lens of queer women writers, and part of that was that there was a bookstore called Shakespeare and Company, different than the one that currently exists today, but it was kind of like a hub for these modernist writers in terms of publishing and also like community in that sense. And when I went to the bookstore that now holds that name, I was really excited to pick up a book by an author that had been a part of that community that I had read about in No Modernism Without Lesbians. So The Well of Loneliness by Radcliffe Hall is regarded to be one of the earliest like truly like lesbian novels, and I feel like I'm saying this about every single book, but I am really excited to read it. I didn't like get any of these books with the intention of not reading them, so they're all here because I want to read them. And finally, I have this book. It is Solo Humo by Juan Jose Milas, and this novel I picked up as a part of my high school Spanish book club, and I haven't picked it up in like over a year. I maybe just need to call it quits. I've read like a little bit, but it just didn't really connect with me. I really kind of do want to like push through it and almost like prove that I can like finish a novel in Spanish, because that idea is pretty cool, but I just don't know if this will be the novel that I end up finishing in Spanish. But it's a really good option to have, and I'm really glad that I at the very least gave it a try. And now moving into our nonfiction. Starting off, we have The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, and this book has been on my radar for quite a while, but I just had never found like a secondhand copy. I didn't really want to pay like $25 for it because it's quite a short book. Okay, maybe $25 is exaggerating a little. On the back it says $12.95, but I swear I was in a bookstore recently and saw this for like $18 or $20, but it's quite short, so I really wanted to find it secondhand. And I finally did. I have been getting a lot more into the idea of spirituality and kind of self-love and healing. I think this book will be really helpful and an interesting read to like compare with my personal perspectives. On the front it says it's a practical guide to personal freedom, so I think that is a good sign. Sounds like something I would enjoy. And yeah, it says that these 4 agreements can transform our lives into a new experience of freedom, true happiness, and love, which I think is so beautiful and truly what I strive to kind of have my life be. So, you know, if this book has any little tips or just kind of inspirational in that sense, I think I'll enjoy it. Next up, we have The Unabridged Journals of Sylvia Plath. This one is another quite thick book, and I really look forward to reading it because Sylvia Plath went to Smith, I believe? Yes, Sylvia Plath went to Smith, so another liberal arts school, somewhat similar to the one I attend. Because of that, I'm really interested to see how her experiences compare with mine. I did already read The Bell Jar, so I'm excited to have this hefty copy of her journals to kind of peruse. These journals, I believe, were mostly from the 50s, so like nearly 70 or 75 years ago, depending on the year of the journal. It'll be really interesting to see how things have changed in academia since then, or also maybe what has stayed the same, especially since The Bell Jar still resonates with so many people today, including me when I read it. So it'll be really interesting to see what other tidbits of Sylvia Plath's work still really hold up in today's day and age. Next up, I have a little book of poetry. It's from a journal or collection called The Same, and I picked this one up secondhand as well. It collects poetry from a bunch of different authors and writers. It also has, I think, a couple of short stories at the end, and I'll be really interested to see if there's any authors that I already know in here, or if there's anyone that I really like their work and can find more of after the fact. I think these sorts of like collections are really cool because sometimes people will have like, not necessarily like a one-hit wonder, but sometimes people will have like one piece of work that gained a lot of attention, but they in reality have other work that you can actually find elsewhere, but perhaps it's not just all collected in like one place. So I'll be really excited to see what goes on in this one. Next up, I have a couple essay collections. This one is called The Feminist Mystic and Other Essays on Women and Spirituality. It was edited by Mary E. Giles. This one, when I picked it up, has a receipt in it from when the person bought it in 2002, already secondhand. So it was secondhand in 2002 for $5.25. And the book is originally from 1982. So that means it has at least passed through the hands of two owners before me, which I think is so cool. This is another case of an essay collection that collects from all sorts of different authors, and I'll be really interested to see if there's any authors whose ideas I really resonate with and if I can find any more of their work online. The trickier part about that is like finding some of these authors' work for free online. Sometimes they're hidden within databases that I can't access, or other collections and things that aren't available for free, or sometimes are just extremely expensive if they've been out of print and things like that, which is why I always love picking up a collection like this, because it compiles a lot of different ideas into one concrete physical book that I have access to. Similarly, I picked up this one. It is called Sexuality, a Reader. It was edited by Feminist Review. I was writing a paper on abortion, and there is one essay in here on abortion, but other than that, I think one that's really stands out to me is called I Just Wanted to Kill a Woman, Why? The Ripper and Male Sexuality by Wendy Holloway. And then along with that, I think another one that sounds really interesting is going to be this section on pornography and representation, because that will tie together from the first essay I found interesting to that section, the idea of kind of like violence and how that is portrayed surrounding women and sexuality. Next, I have this essay called Homophobia, a Weapon of Sexism by Suzanne Farr. I picked this one up because I was really thinking hard about biphobia and how, of course, that ties in with homophobia from one side. Of course, being bi is part of the LGBTQ plus community, so, you know, if somebody's homophobic or does not accept the LGBTQ plus community, there's like the aspect of homophobia there. But then from the other perspective, there can also be, I've seen talk online of things like, oh, when a bi woman is dating a man, like, oh, she could do better. She could be with a woman and that would inherently be better for some reason, rather than just, you know, allowing a bi person to date whoever they would like to date. And that's why I picked this one up, because this one talks specifically about homophobia and sexism. Also within biphobia, it is often targeted towards women, saying a woman could do better than dating a man. She should date a woman. I've seen that echoed within the queer community. And with that perspective, I think it does in a sense come from sexism. Because if you're thinking that way, you aren't fully allowing another woman to just live her life as she pleases. There's still this idea of like policing a woman's body, or policing like what she can and cannot do in terms of herself, her romantic endeavors, her sexuality, whatever that is. If people are placing expectations on bi women specifically, I think it does not further the feminist agenda so many of those same people argue for. I wonder how some of these ideas about homophobia relating to sexism could carry over to the idea of biphobia relating to sexism. Like, if there's a woman dating a man, like, what is the perception of that? How does that relate to ideas of decentering men? Because in my opinion, those two things can fit together. Like, just because you're dating a man doesn't mean, like, men are your entire life. So I think it'll be really, really interesting to see how this ties together with some of the thoughts I was already having, and to see if I can like back those up academically, or if I'm just kind of running my head into a hole. I don't know. Actually, no, I do know. I think I'm on to something. Next up, we have a bit of a controversial one. I have Hillbilly Elegy by J.D. Vance. It is a memoir of family and culture in crisis. So I have this one because I read Eviction. I'll put it up here. I'm blanking on the author's name right now. But I read Eviction. It talked about America and kind of the housing crisis and how that disproportionately affects certain communities. So through that sociological lens, I'm interested in reading kind of something on the other side a little bit. This one talks specifically about poor rural Americans, specifically white Americans, because that was J.D. Vance's personal experience, so that's where he's speaking from. I've also heard that it differs from the political takes he has currently. This book was published in 2016, so that was actually 10 years ago now. And regardless, I do think it's important to read things from all sides of the spectrum, of the political spectrum, of most spectrums usually, just because it allows you to find a fuller understanding, and even if you disagree with people, that means that you can understand their takes to your fullest extent, and then if you still disagree, you know their facts, or you know what they are stating as the facts, so you can either bring your own facts or refute their facts, or and have a true discussion about it rather than an argument, which I do think is really important in this day and age where politics has become so polarized. On a similar note, we have Poverty by America by Matthew Desmond. This goes right alongside Eviction, which I was speaking about earlier. This one kind of comes after that book, again discussing through sociological lens, and I'm hoping to study sociology moving forward, so I definitely want to do a bit of summer reading, make sure it's something that is up my alley still. I also have Talking to Strangers by Malcolm Gladwell. This book was recommended to me by my dad. This book is supposed to talk a bit about history and psychology, which ties in greatly with sociology, so another piece of summer reading that I hope to get to further my understanding of sociology and how that ties into psychology and history before I get into my classes next year. Next, I have Waging Heavy Peace by Neil Young. Unfortunately, my dog got to it before I did, but I grew up listening to Neil Young a lot. So when I saw this autobiography secondhand, I decided to pick it up so that way I could learn a bit more about the context behind his music. I also really find like the period of time that he really emerged in music to be really interesting throughout the 60s and 70s with things like anti-war movements, things like civil rights, and feminist movements, and all the social movements that were happening during that period of time. But music was so integral to a lot of those movements, specifically like anti-war movements. I believe it's Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young has the song Ohio, which definitely was an anti-war activism song. So it's really interesting to hear kind of the ways in which music and individual people were able to influence wider movements. Next up, I have Guia del Madrid de la Movida by Jesus Cordovas and Patricia Goldes. So this one, I picked this up before I went to Spain. I had done a project researching La Movida Madrileña, which was a kind of like gothic and punk movement which happened in the late 1970s and early 1980s following the death of the dictator of Spain, Francisco Franco. And I have always been very interested in music movements, similarly to the book on Neil Young. So this one is all in Spanish, which is why I haven't gotten to it yet. It's gonna be a bit of a heftier read, require a little bit more focus, but the topic is really exciting to me, and I really hope to visit Spain again someday to be able to visit some of the locations they talk about in this book, because it really is like a tour guide almost. And finally, I have a book that was a gift to me. It's called Wisdom of Wildly Creative Women, Real Stories from Inspirational, Artistic, and Empowered Women by Angela Lomenzo. This book is supposed to be about a lot of different creative women, feminism, and that really resonates with me as a woman who likes to be creative. One thing I appreciate about this book is most of the artists it discusses in here I have not yet heard of, so that means I will be learning a whole lot when I do read this book, which is so exciting. And that is my entire to be read list that I have here in person. So thank you so much for watching. I did just spend an hour yapping about books, so we will see how it turns out. This really is getting me feeling inspired to do a bit more reading, especially those essay collections and nonfiction. Usually I reach straight for fiction whenever I'm in a reading mood, but I think I need to start branching out into my nonfiction collection just a little bit more. I've been doing a little, but I think it's time to like really dive in. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate anybody who is here right now. So thank you, and I will see you next time. Bye!